After Annie imprisoned herself in her crystal, her roommate when she was part of the military police brigade, Hitch, worked close to her, making sure to protect the Eldrins from her. However, after her end started the rumbling, Annie finally came out of her crystal. She waited for Hitch, who was trying to calm down the citizens at the time. When Hitch finally entered the room that Annie was hiding in, Annie put her hand on Hitch's mouth and said these words. Hitch knew that Annie was too weak to fight and slammed her down onto the floor. After the two spoke, they agreed that it would be best for Annie to leave. She got her freedom back and Hitch didn't need to spend all her time watching the female titan. After Annie, Kiyomi, Falco, and Gabi split up from the rest of the warriors and soldiers, the children thought about what they could do to help fight Ren. Falco had a memory of a previous incarnation of the beast titan since he drank Zeke's spinal fluid. Thinking that he'd be able to fly, he and Gabi proposed the idea to Kiyomi and Annie. At first, Annie didn't want them to try it since she believed she lost everything that she cared about. However, after Kiyomi convinced her to let him, Falco figured out that he really could fly. They headed to the battle and saved their comrades just as they were about to lose. While Hitch helped Annie leave Paradis, Annie explained why she killed people. She grew up believing that it was the right thing to do as Marley turned her into a warrior. However, she never actually cared to fight and only did it so she could reunite with her father. She didn't regret her actions and told Hitch that she would do it all over again if that would achieve her goal. Reiner and Annie had a very complicated relationship. After Marcel died, she wanted to return to Marley immediately while Reiner forced her and Berthold to continue on with their mission, knowing that he would be blamed for their failure. He forced her to do a lot of things that she didn't want to, resulting in her thinking of killing him. When they met again years later, she told him this. He didn't blame her, believing that she could have returned to her father if it weren't for him. After Annie thought that Ren killed her father, she lost all desire to fight and thought that the world was no longer a place that Eldrins could live in. She told Mikasa this after she suggested testing out her vertical maneuvering equipment with Reiner. During their conversation, Mikasa realized that Annie had feelings for Armin, something that fans had wanted since the beginning of the series. At the beginning of the series, the members of the 104th Cadet Corps knew exactly which branch of the military they wanted to join. Most wanted to be in the military police brigade. Knowing that they wouldn't all be accepted, however, most considered the garrison. Eren, Armin, and Mikasa were the only three that really thought about joining the Survey Corps. Things changed, however, after their first real battle. Most of the main characters started thinking of the Survey Corps. When asking each other what they would do, this was what Annie said. She was the only one to become an MP. After Marcel saved Reiner's life by pushing him out of the way when Ymir tried to eat him, the three warriors ran as Marcel was devoured in his comrade's place. This was when Annie began to resent Reiner. She attacked him and said these words, knowing that they failed their mission before they even reached Shiganshina. Her words resulted in Reiner trying his best to become Marcel, knowing that his ally was needed more than he was. This caused his mind to split into two, the warrior he truly was and the soldier he pretended to be. Though most fans were certain that Annie was the female titan before she admitted it, the moment she did was still one of the best at the beginning of the series. Armin suspected her and came up with a plan to figure out if he was right. He tried to lead her to the underground, where she wouldn't be able to use her titan. He was able to convince her to join him up until that point by telling her that she'd be a good person to him if she went with him, Eren, and Mikasa. Once she found out what they were doing, however, she turned into the female titan and fought Eren. When Annie joined the military police brigade, she met Hitch and Marlowe. Like most people, Hitch became an MP to live a better life while Marlowe wanted to change how the military police brigade did things. He believed that they were corrupted. When he explained his reasons for joining, Annie told him that being a good person wasn't normal. This quote sums up how Annie perceives the world around her better than any other. When Annie told Hitch the story of her life, she said these words. The only influence she had in her life was her father. For the majority of the time they spent together, he didn't treat her as a daughter but as a warrior. Once she got tired of it, she beat him. Instead of understanding the pain that he caused her, he was happy that she became strong enough to make him not be able to walk straight. After that, nothing mattered to her until he told her how he was sorry for what he did and that he would rather have a daughter than a warrior.